Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum. So look, I want you to turn your ad campaigns off. Stop wasting money on Google and Meta ads if you don't know the stuff that I'm going to share with you today. And the reason why you can trust me here is because I actually have a sales and marketing agency. We actually make money by running people's ads for them. So I actually want you to take a pause. We need to go back and revisit some fundamentals with regards to the foundations of your funnel. And when I'm talking about funnel, you need to understand that VSLs, headlines, sales copy, sales script, email, CRM, automations is actually irrelevant if you don't know the 5 things that I'm going to share with you today. In case you're wondering who I am, my name is Imran Ibn Mansur. I've made almost $4 million, alhamdulillah, through my businesses, and I've served over 200 clients, helping them make money. As you can see on screen, some guys made 8K in 2 weeks. Some guys made 100K after a 1-hour session with me. With the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla, I know what I'm talking about. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The first thing is a why. You have to know why you're doing the things that you do. You see, a lot of the times we only concern ourselves with the how. How do I make money? How do I run better quality ads? How do I have a funnel that's optimized, that's going to convert? How do I improve my sales script? But we never ask why. Yesterday, I got a message on WhatsApp from a friend of mine who's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's got hundreds of thousands on Instagram. And this guy is well known. If I mention his name to you, you're going to be like, oh, you know this guy? Yeah, I know this guy. And he messaged me. You know what he asked me? He asked me a question yesterday. He said, Imran, he said, how do I make money? That was literally his question. He said, Imran, I need help. How do I make money? The reason I find this question problematic is because the hows of life are many. The hows of business are many. The hows within marketing are many. Within the sub-disciplines of marketing, for example, organic social media strategy, the hows are many. How do I optimize my Instagram? How do I create effective hooks? How do I create effective CTAs? How do I write a bio that's going to be clear, that's going to help people understand exactly what it is that I stand for? The hows of life are many. And guess what? The hows are hard. These are obstacles. These are hurdles. These are mountains that I have to conquer every time. Now, if I'm just focused on the how, then guess what? Eventually I'm going to fizzle out. I'm not going to have the fuel that's needed to be able to overcome this mountain. But if I can answer why I do this, then that why is something that is more intrinsically rooted inside of you, and it helps you overcome the hurdles and the obstacles of business. Guys, please don't lose me. Honestly, even the disbelievers from the businessmen, they have powerful whys. That's why they're able to do what me and you are not able to do. So please pay attention. A quote comes to mind. A man who knows why he does the things that he does can withstand any how. A powerful why is like fuel for a rocket. It can launch you outside the atmosphere, whereas a shallow why, which is a why that just satisfies your desires. Why do you want to make this money? Oh, because I want a nice car, I want a nice watch, I want to have a nice house. Or why do you want to make money? Oh, because everyone else is doing this. These type of shallow whys, they're the reason why you actually can't go and do the work that's required, because you don't necessarily have the intrinsic motivation and the discipline of someone who's got a greater why. Now, as the Arabs, they say, وَبِالْمِثَالِ يَتَضْحُ الْمَقَالِ. With an example, the matter becomes clear. So let's join me back towards my library, where I'm going to share with you what my why is. So my why comes from a story that the great scholar Imam Ibn Jawzi told. He has a book called Sayyidul Khatir, which means captured thoughts. He talks about a gathering that he attended in which there were scholars and wealthy men. And he noticed that the wealthy men didn't actually give much care or consideration to the scholars. They saw themselves as higher and greater in society than the scholars. And the scholars came across as humiliated or lower in status than these wealthy men. So he said, that day I realized that a person who wants to seek knowledge, a person who wants to give da'wah and teach and give this religion victory, he should take out time to earn a lot of money. He said, يُبَالِغْ فِي كَسْبِ الْمَالِ, as in he should go out of his way, right, to earn wealth. Because with that wealth, you become independent from the people that are wealthy, and you are also seen as a person who's respected and honored more. He said, so much so that even if it takes out time from his seeking knowledge, he should go out there and earn that wealth. Now, this reminds me of a statement of Imam Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah. He said, لولا المال لتمندل بنا الملوك. If it wasn't for wealth, the rulers would have just used us like handkerchiefs. They would have just, cleaned their nose with us and thrown us away. We would have been in their hands, thrown away into the trash. What he meant is that with the wealth, Allah gave them a degree of independence. But I actually want to take it a step further. My why is not just that I want to be independent from people that are wealthy, so I can spread the message of Islam, and that so I can be respected, but actually it's a step further. Wealth is a weapon. Sufyan al-Thawri, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, in our day, we can see that al-mal was silah. It's a weapon. It's a weapon that we use. And you can see in the Quran when Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about, for example, jihad, He talks about the jihad of the wealth and then jihad of the self, as in with yourself, with oneself in the battlefield. But before that, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions many times the jihad of wealth. You have to understand, you see the people that are dominating the world today, and the people that seem like they're in power, these great civilizations that are not so great, but they're in power. Guess what? They're in power because they have used their wealth, not necessarily on the battlefield, but they have used their wealth in terms of dominating people's hearts and minds. And they did that by lobbying political institutions so that their message could be spread. For example, if you look in America, over 50% of Congress is actually funded by the lobbies from the Zionists. If you look at the Prime Minister in the UK, he's actually funded by the Zionists. Like, they actually put money in his pocket. And just under half of the MPs in Parliament in the UK are funded by the Zionists. You have to understand that they don't just fund politicians, but they also create think tanks. And these think tanks are there to develop ideas and strategies that will then be filtered into workplaces, into political institutions, into educational institutions, into universities, that then are going to produce tens of thousands of people, and they will occupy positions of influence in the world such that their ideas can be filtered down and become impregnable. Like, this is how people control the hearts and the minds. And it makes clear sense to me what Sufyan al-Thawri meant when he said wealth is a weapon, because you can actually use it to spread the religion of Islam if you know what you're doing. So for that reason, I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's what the whole Righteous and Rich project is. It's a project where we give Muslims the tools and the education and also the service. We don't just teach, we actually go in, our 7-figure team goes in and builds out your funnels, builds out your sales and marketing strategy so that you can make ridiculous amounts of money. So it's not just me that has wealth in my hand, but you as a righteous slave of Allah also have wealth in your hand. And then together our wealth can do a lot more than it can if it was just me or you that was wealthy in a vacuum on our own. And it can definitely do a lot more than a person who's just trying to spread the truth, but he himself is worried about paying his bills every second day. So that's why I'm doing what you're doing. Why are you doing what you're doing? I want you to actually take the time out to really ponder this. And look, you get bonus points here if your why is intertwined with the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if your why is connected to something that is for Allah's sake, then I'm going to share with you an ayah that's going to really blow your mind. Allah said, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. That those who strive for my sake, for our sake, we will guide them to our paths, i.e. my paths. Allah said, if you do this for my sake, I will guide you to the path. So if you make your business for Allah's sake, like you want to, and it doesn't have to be because you want to have massive amounts of money so you can influence the world in favor of Islam. It could be because you want to fund orphans. It could be just because you want to take care of all of your relatives and make sure none of them are poor, none of them are needy, and all of them are sufficed. It could be because you want to build a madrasa where people memorize the Quran. If your why is really for Allah's sake, then Allah will aid you. This is honestly the recipe, man, for success. And I have no doubt in my mind that this is why and how the Sahaba had massive amounts of wealth before they died. Not all of them, but some of the Sahaba had massive amounts of wealth. You see, a lot of us only know the lives of the Sahaba up until the death of the Prophet ﷺ. Right? We only know the lives of Sahaba connected to the Prophet's biography. But Sahaba had lives after the Prophet passed away as well, because when the Prophet passed away, now the Sahaba, they took this religion and spread it to the ends of the earth. Look at where they were when some of them died, in terms of the wealth that they had acquired. And then they used that wealth to serve this religion, right? So when you look at Abdurrahman ibn Auf and Zubayr ibn Awam and Talha ibn Ubaydillah dying with billions in estate. With billions, equivalent to billions today in terms of purchasing power, right? How did they acquire so much? I have no doubt that Allah Azza wa Jal gave it to them, inshaAllah, bi'idhnillah. He gave it to them. Why? Because their intentions were pure and sincere, and they were working and they were earning for His sake. In order to master the second step, you've got to conquer 2 mountains. And the analogy of mountains is really appropriate here, because a lot of us focus on things in the business that are like hills. We're focusing on the molehills, right? Now, you're going to be surprised when I tell you, but the ad script is a molehill. The VSO is a molehill. The indoctrination sequence is a molehill. The sales script is a molehill. Really? But these are the things that everyone's telling me to focus on. The animations that you create on your content are a molehill. Let me tell you something. You know the thumbnail, which is like the most important thing that's responsible for the growth of this video, right? The CTR is a molehill. It's a molehill. In comparison to these other 2 mountains, yeah, the CTR is important, but how useful is that going to be if you don't have this? And what is this? This is the mountain of value, forgive me for my handwriting, and the mountain of trust. Guys, a decade of business, a decade of sales and marketing, a decade of serving over 200 clients and students, a decade of millions generated in revenue, alhamdulillah. And I'm telling you that, in my humble opinion, sales and marketing comes down to these 2 things: the value of your offer and the trust that you have in the market. Let me break this down. So most people just want to sell your course. I don't care how beneficial your course is. I can almost guarantee that I can find it online for free. Or I can find a book that breaks it down. Okay, you've personalized it a little bit. But at the end of the day, can I find it for free online? Can I listen to an audio book? Can I do that? Yes, I can. So then it doesn't make sense to sell a course on how to set up a course on high ticket closing or so on and so forth. Or perhaps, you're a digital marketing agency or an SMMA, a social media marketing agency, where what do? You cut up clips and create content for me. Is okay, amazing. Or you're an advertising agency. You run digital marketing ads. Bro, and how much you want me to pay again? 1,000? 2,000 free? Bro, you must be waffling, Ak. I can find that stuff. I can find guys that run ads for me in Pakistan for cheap. And they're actually good. So your price to value discrepancy is massive. On the flip side, let me show you 2 examples of how we create value in terms of our 2 products that we sell at the Righteous and Rich. Product number 1 is our Righteous and Rich Skills Academy. Now, the Skills Academy is an academy where we give you training. Now, we don't just give you training on one area of business. No, the idea here is every month to release a training on a different area of business that you need in terms of sales and marketing to help you grow. So we break everything down to its most granular thing, and then we fill it up with value and content. So for example, we break up marketing into paid marketing, organic marketing, and then organic marketing, we break it up into social media strategy in general, and then specifically optimizing YouTube and optimizing Instagram, each and every single one that has hours of content, hours and hours of content. We've got hours and hours of content just to teach you how to launch something through social media, just launching. We've got hours and hours of content, not on sales script, but just understanding the strategy of the sales pipeline. Like, what is the strategy that you employ here? And that's not even talking about the hours and hours and hours of content that's going to be coming up with regards to how to optimize your sales pipeline and so on and so forth. But again, it's not just 1 course or 2. It's a course every month on a fundamental area of business. But that still is not enough value, in my humble opinion. We give you access to each of those teachers daily. You can speak to them live on a call. And these are guys that are elite practitioners. We're talking about our paid ads guy, Brother Tahmeen, who every Friday will literally look at your ad campaign and review your Meta ad campaign manager, or look at your Google ads, like literally look at it with his trained eye. And by the way, who is he? He's a guy that runs ads for Uber. He's managed ad campaigns with hundreds and millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars, not a joke, And that's the guy that will literally look at your ad campaign. You can actually speak to him. You can speak to me every Sunday. I will build out your offer from scratch. You can speak to Brother Musa every Wednesday, who will literally share your screen and review your funnel and tell you exactly what's wrong. You see how the value is more. There's more value in that now. We have a brother who's our head of e-commerce, who literally grew an e-commerce site here in the Middle East to $10 million a year. And then he was brought in by a venture capitalist firm to look at various different businesses to identify which ones they should buy and which ones they should avoid based on how likely they are to make money, because he understands so many different verticals of business who you can literally speak to and say, give me business advice, show me what's wrong with my e-commerce website, show me how I can blow this up out of the water. You see how the value intensifies. Okay, cool. But that's not it. You've got a community of like-minded entrepreneurs that are all motivating each other. And guess what? You're incentivized to be active in the community because we will fly you out to Dubai and give you all sorts of prizes like that based on your engagement with the community. How much do you think all that is? Before, let me tell you, there are people that have paid me $20,000 for less than that. Look at the screenshot on screen. It's not a joke. So I know how much I could charge for this. But guess what? You know how much we sell it for? We sell it for $99 a month. That's it. And then we've got our second product, which is if you're a person who's like, I don't really want to go through the training, I don't have time, but can you just do it for me? Like, you see these guys that you said, the guy who ran a $100 million ad campaign, the guy who built an e-commerce site to 10 million plus a year, all your experts, your funnel building experts, your sales experts that brought in millions for their clients. Can you just get them to do it for me? Like, just build out my funnel, script my VSLs, script the content on my landing page, create my social media strategy for me, blah, 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 so on and so forth, run my ad campaign. Yes. How much do you think I could charge for something like that? I charge a lot of money, but I don't. It's less than the 20K that I told you about earlier, right? But of course, it's more than the 99 a month. And the reason why people are willing to buy, and we're serving all sorts of businesses, is because of the value to the price. But here's the thing, value is not enough unless you trust me to deliver on that value, because I can make claims. Oh, I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to do that for you. But where is the trust? Now, trust is built up of many things, but I'm going to narrow it down to two. Number one, proof. Like, for our Righteous Rich Skills Academy, I've got so much proof that I get bored of talking about it. Like, I get bored. Like it's actually boring now. Just like our students and our clients are constantly just posting wins. Everything from getting on a client for $300 a month to closing your first 1K client, you're closing your first 2K client, to repeating that process, to making your first 8K in 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. And it's, well, just look at it on the screen. Maybe like we can show a scroll of the wins or something like that. So the first thing is proof. Now, how do you get proof? Akhi, you got to deliver results, man. Some people are worried about, oh, that's going to take too much time and effort to give that type of value. And they're just worried about efficiency at the beginning. Bro, at the beginning, actually, your job is to just give so much value so that you can get proof that will build trust for people when you want to actually sell later at a higher price in a more scalable and efficient way. And before we launched Righteous and Rich, do you understand, for a whole year, I served clients for free. For free, I helped with Allah's permission. Guys, make money for a whole year. Me and my entire team, who I was paying a payroll to, we're serving clients for free so we can get those case studies and those proofs, which is why when we launched, people signed up. And now it's just a machine because people trusted us the first time, they gave us that money, jumped on, learned, made more money, shared those proofs. It's just exponential growth now. With regards to our other service where we go in and we build these things out, where we give you that actual access to myself and my team, we build these things out for you. Well, man, we've got brother Sam Amin right here. If you can see on screen, we helped him build out his social media profile. This guy, Allah Mabarak, is an 8-figure entrepreneur. He helps Muslims invest in real estate, absolutely 100% riba free, no joke. Allah Mabarak, look, this is just 4 or 5 videos, but look how they're performing. For your first video that you ever released on social media to do 1,000 plus, and every video except for one to consistently be 1,000 plus, and you have no prior presence on social media, that's proof. We got brother Big Isa, who we helped him and his team launch his school community, and within a few days he was making twice as much as he was during his 9 to 5. You got brother Munir, who increased his monthly revenue by 50%.
Alhamdulillah, been in Righteous and Rich for about a month. My revenue was down quite a bit, and it was really, stressful because, of course, at the time that I joined, I wasn't even able to pay my bills. But since joining, alhamdulillah, got my head back on straight. Alhamdulillah, being around a good environment of good Muslims with a good money mindset and putting money in an Islamic context and bringing them closer with Allah. And so by Allah's permission, I've been able to produce much better content, get much better at just generating leads. And so my revenue has gone up by 50%, which has got me back in the green with the business and back to where I need to be. So alhamdulillah, I appreciate you guys for helping me navigate this competitive market and ultimately get back to where I need to be. And I'm very optimistic that it's not just going to be 50%. Soon it's going to be 3x, inshallah, bidnillah. So jazakallah khair. Appreciate you guys and highly recommend the program.
50, like if you're making, I'm not going to share his numbers with you, but if you're making 100K a month and then someone helps you increase by 50, that's an extra 50,000 you're making a month. And then we have brother Fawaz, Allahumma barik, who on the back of just one call, implementing the stuff that we went on the back of just one call, made $100,000.
These were in-depth, detailed, broken down, structured sessions, right? That all resulted in like, you know, a revenue of like over 100,000 straight away, right off the bat, within like a, I think 2-3 month window of implementation.
Over 100?
Yes, subhanAllah, it was nuts, right? So,
okay, even I didn't know that.
Yeah, it went crazy.
So you see, when I share this proof, you're like, oh, I trust this guy. Okay, but proof is one way to get trust. But I want to add to that proof with authority. You see, I might not have any proof that I've helped patients with Allah's permission. But if I can show you my certificate from the medical school that I graduated, you will trust me that I'm a doctor because I've given you authority. I've shared my authority with you. So I was very conscious that when I transitioned into Righteous and Rich, because people knew me prior purely only for da'wah, right? Oh, but now you're a businessman and you're telling me you can help me make all this money. So what I did was I borrowed authority from some of the most elite sales and marketing practitioners in the world, which is why we built a team and partnered up with people that can deliver you marketing and sales solutions at the highest level. I was like, if you're not going to trust me, you're going to trust this brother right here who done ads for Uber. You're going to trust this brother right here who done ads for Emirates Airlines. You're going to trust this guy right here who does the marketing for DP World. You're going to trust this guy right here who grew the Pottery Barn luxury furniture brand website to $10 million plus. You're going to trust this guy who served all these different businesses. Oh, and guess what? Righteous Rich. That is righteous. We are built off of these elite practitioners. So trust comes on the back of, let me write it out for you, inshallah, in case you're missing it, right? Number one, proof. Number two, I'm gonna write all of it out there, but authority, A-U-T-H. Let me add the little dot. If you do this, these two mountains, if you focus on it, I can be honest with you, your ad can be whack. Like literally your ad is just saying, this is the crazy value that I'm gonna give you. And by the way, this is why I'm trusted to deliver on it. And if you put money behind an ad like that, I can literally be on your phone with no animations. I promise you, you can scale you to 100K, scale you to 7 figures every single month. Okay guys, the third thing is that you need to be scientific when it comes to business. If you're not scientific, you will really suffer. The scientific method, by the way, FYI, it was Ibn Haytham, I think his name was, who was a doctor of optics in the 11th or 12th century that actually came up with the scientific method that later on, all of these scientists in the West, such as Francis Bacon and whatnot, later claimed, but it's actually something that the Muslims started, right? And I said, what is it that I'm talking about right here? Look, when you come up with an offer, like all this value that you just added, right, to the product or the service that you're going to sell, when you come up with that, you've come up with that value for a particular client in mind. For in your mind, what is an ICP, an ideal customer profile? You have to understand, this is a guess. This is an assumption. This is a hypothesis that X person is going to be interested in Y product. And I'm adding all of this value to Y product, and I'm putting all this money behind ad spend, and I'm spending all this time selling it. I'm writing this crazy effective VSL for this one ad product in hope that this one ICP, this one ideal customer is actually going to buy it. But guess what? It was an assumption. It was wrong. This person has no interest for this. And this is something that happens all the time in business. In fact, there's a really good book that I recommend you to read. It's called The Lean Startup. And the book basically goes through the hypothesis that have a mindset that's a bit agile when it comes to your product, to your service. Because you've made something that you think people are going to want, but it could be that when you bring it to market, people are actually not interested in there. People are not interested in that product at all. So you have to twist it, change it, tweak it. So have a lean startup approach, which is a bit on your toes, agile, like a boxer who's on his toes, ready to just move, dodge, change, direction, recourse. So what you need is you need to be scientific. Now, what is a scientific method, right? I'm oversimplifying it. It's not a science class. But the first thing is you come up with a hypothesis, which is that this product, this service is going to help this type of person. The second thing is that when you do that hypothesis, then you observe. Right? You observe. And this is the part that my brothers act. Why you have to pay attention to, Why are you not looking at the results? Why are you not observing how that ad performed? A lot of the questions that you ask me, a lot of the questions that you're searching online can be answered just by looking at your data. Now, the data isn't necessarily numbers, even though that definitely helps, but that's quantitative data. There's qualitative data as well, which is look at the comments, look at the words, look at the conversations you're having in your DMs with your prospects, look at the conversations that you're having with the people in your sales calls. You know, one of the most important things for my marketing is speaking to my sales team, actually having conversations with them. They are the ones that are on the front line talking to our ideal customers, and they come back and say, Akhi, the customer actually doesn't care about this, they care about that. They are the ones who come back and tell me, you know the pain point that you're using in your video, they're not even interested in that. They don't care about making 7 figures. They just want to move to a Muslim country. So use that in your advertising material. I'm like, okay, but you know what, these guys don't actually understand. Like, you know, sometimes I create this great ad copy and I feel this is it, this is going to get my ideal customer into the funnel, and the sales team is telling me, Akhi, guys are coming on the sales call and they don't even know what the product is. So then I'm like, what? So then my copy was whack. Then I thought it was good, but it wasn't. So just by speaking to my ideal customers, I'm going to get feedback on every single element of my funnel. I'm going to get feedback on, wait, is this product even good? I'm going to get feedback on, am I even targeting the right person? Am I even targeting the right person? I'm going to get feedback on, wait, this sales copy was terrible. This ad campaign was whack. Guys, just observe, man. Some of us, you know what we're doing? And I want you to remember this analogy. We're trying to break through concrete with our bare hands. We're trying to dig a hole in concrete with our bare hands. What's going to happen to your hands if you try to dig a hole through concrete with your bare hands? You're going to smash and crush and scratch your skin and bones, bro. You're going to be left bleeding, broken knuckles and fingers. That's what's happened to you. You're left broken and bleeding. Your ad spend has just simmered away. You're tired, you're fatigued, you're losing motivation and hope because you're just not observing. You're just not looking at the data. So what we will do is we will look at the data consistently. And the primary data, again, numerical data is great, but what I'm talking about is speaking to your prospects and speaking to your customers, primarily for 2 reasons. I can use data to improve all of these other things that I've just mentioned, but I'm really concerned about 2 things. And I'm concerned about what? Number 1, I'm concerned about my ICP. Am I targeting the right person? And number 2, I'm concerned about what? Am I presenting the most valuable offer? Guys, newsflash, reading Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer. It's a great book, by the way. It's not gonna be enough for you to create great offers, right? Some of us, read the book and thought that's it. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. You should be constantly testing. Let me give you an example. So we had a situation where I told you we've got the Right Skills Academy, right? And then we've got me and my 7-figure team going in and building all of these systems out for your business, whether you're a coaching service, agency, info product, community, school community, SaaS product that you sell, or e-commerce service that you have, whatever it is, we go in and we optimize our sales and marketing, and we build infrastructures and run the lead generation strategy, and we'll even close the sales for you, right? We do that, alhamdulillah. But we can't do that for everyone. I'm not talking about the Skills Academy, right? Which was the $99 thing. The second is obviously more valuable. Now, in the Skills Academy, we can let in people that necessarily don't have a business just yet. Even though we don't like to, we can let them in because they can learn the skills to start up their own business. But for the second service, bro, I can't do anything for you if you don't already have a business. And it's not just the business. You need to be making at least some money for us to be able to then go in and then blow that up for you. So my sales team was communicating to me, listen, Imran, we're getting people that are booking calls that are just not qualified. They don't have a business. They're looking for a business idea. So I'm like, okay, now I have to go back to the drawing board and look at the content that I'm making. Am I clearly targeting my ideal customer? And I could see that I wasn't. I have to use language like Muslim entrepreneurs that are making 10K plus a month. Or I have to hit pain points like those of you who are spending money on ads but not making the desired return on your investment. I have to use examples and analogies and stories that are going to be directly relevant to this guy right here, my ideal customer profile. Then what I do is I say, okay, what does this guy want? And I create an offer directly for him. And I keep studying the feedback in my comments, in my DMs, in my real life interactions, the sales calls, and then the actual dealings with our clients to work out and refine every day who is that guy and what does he want. And when I know that on the back of the scientific method, then I can sell like crazy. Guys, I'm telling you, this is honestly the secret to business. Like, I can actually go out onto the street and look at a person and I know if he's ready to give me $10,000 or not. I can literally go to a guy's profile on Instagram and I can look and say, is this guy ready to give me money? Now, that doesn't mean I close every guy, no. But I know who I'm targeting, which makes my marketing and everything else super easy. So guys, be scientific. You get to your ideal customer and the most valuable offer on the back of a rigorous scientific process of hypothesizing, observing, looking at the results, and then tweaking, and then repeat, and repeat, and repeat. The fourth point, and it links back to your why at the beginning, is you must go to war. You must go to war on behalf of your followers, your prospects, and your ideal customers. Join me near my library, inshallah, let me break this down. A wise man once said, show me who your enemy is, and show me what battles you fight, and I will tell you who you are. You know, the enemies that we have, the people that we hate, and the oppositions that we have against certain people is a very personal thing. And what's the reverse of hatred and opposition? It's love and unity. It's love and unity. Now, if you can align yourself with the hatred that your prospects and your followers have for the things that they are opposed to or the people that they are opposed to, in return, they will love you and they will unite with you. And most people are not leaders. If you can be that leader that leads them in this fight, this battle against whatever problem it is that you're trying to solve, that they also hate, they will look at you as their savior with Allah's permission, their guide, and they will then be willing to buy from you when you make that offer. For a person who is in a fight against cancer, you can imagine how that is something that people feel very passionately about. For a person who's in a fight against poverty, for a person who's in a fight against riba, one of our clients, Brother Sam Amin, what we did for him when we built out his social media personal profile, his brand profile, is we said, look, Akhi, you can't just come out here and tell people you want to help them make money in a way that's halal. You need to position yourself against the thing that they hate, that stop them from investing in real estate in a way that's halal. And that's riba. And that's these people that presenting real estate investment as if it's something that's what? That's allowed. It's permissible. Position yourself in opposition and enmity towards these people. Now, I know these words sound a bit intense. By the way, in case anyone clocked, I'm not telling anyone to actually go to war. What we're talking about here is the feelings that people have towards these things that they dislike. And if you can become the solution towards the problem this enemy has created and face this enemy head on, people will look at you as, this is our guy. And this is really important because, like I said, hatred and opposition is very personal, and the opposite of that, which is love and unity, is very intense. And that will make people rally behind you, even if you're new, even if you don't have the wins and the case studies as other people in your industry have. Now, for example, myself, when we launched Righteous and Rich, where we help Muslims scale to 7 figures, alhamdulillah, through sales and marketing solutions, I'm not the first to have done this. I'm not the only person to have done this. And definitely I'm not going to be the most skilled and experienced person to have done this. So what do I do? Apart from all the other things that I did, developing this great team and, you know, who I can leverage their authority and their skill and their experience. But there are still people that have great teams that have skills and experience. What we do is we leverage our morals, our values, which is we as Muslims are in a fight against evil. And wealth is a weapon that we can use in the fight against evil. We can use this wealth to stop oppression and chaos and misguidance. We can use this wealth to give victory to al-Islam if the wealth is placed back in the hands of the righteous businessman. For us, our hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the trustworthy and righteous businessman is amongst the prophets and the martyrs. What does a businessman have to do with prophets and martyrs? The prophets and martyrs serve this religion. They give their life. They literally give their flesh and blood for this religion. The businessman gives his money and his wealth for this religion. So people who care about the deen, want to give the deen victory, and they're businessmen, they will straightway align with me and my team, with the righteous and rich, institution over people that have been in this industry for decades. Because they're like, no, you're actually doing something greater than just helping me make money. You're helping me fulfill my purpose. You're helping me achieve the things that at my core I find to be important and valuable that I just don't have the ability to do myself. Not only are you doing that on my behalf, but you're giving me the skills to join you on that mission. So guys, identifying your brand personality, exactly what you stand for, who you stand against, who your enemy is, right? What are the problems and the pains that you're trying to solve? This is very, very powerful. And it will help set you apart from everyone else. Do you see how now it's not just about your VSL? It's not just about your sales copy. Like I can go to ChatGPT and it will create great copy for me. You can sign up to any of these social media marketing agencies that are probably in your DMs telling you, look, we'll do this and that for you. But they're just gonna look at things from a surface level. When we work with our clients, before we pass it on to our copywriting team, who's very, very, very well equipped, and our funnel builders who are very well equipped, and our sales team who bring in millions of times of revenue, we first establish who's your ideal customer, bro? What's the offer? What's your brand? What's your mission? Right? And then we talk about the last thing, which I'm going to get into now and shortly, and that's your social media content strategy, like your actual content strategy. These things are so much more important because everything else I do, the ads that I run, the targeting on the ad managers, whether I'm using Meta as a platform to run ads, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, the customer journey that I map out, the indoctrination sequence that I build out, the CRMs, the automations, all these things that we are just focused on, the hows, right? This stuff is all built on this right here, right? On this right here. What is your brand personality? What is it that you stand for? Which is connected to what I started off with at the beginning, which is your why. And if you can tweak these things, you will find that inshallah ta'ala, you're making a lot more money. The last and final point, the fifth point, is pertaining to your content strategy, your social media content strategy. Now, a lot of us want to do what? We want to run paid ads that we're hoping is going to drive traffic towards our funnels that's going to then make us money. And let's assume that we have everything that I've just discussed right. We have an ICP, an ideal customer that we're targeting. We've got value in our offer. We've got trust. We've got all of that stuff. We've got a nice brand, mission statement, so on and so forth. Right? And we have a scientific eye. So we're like, you know what? Let's just create an ad. Well, let's create 50 ads. Let's put money behind it. And let's just drive traffic. Guys, I told you earlier, one of the core services that we provide is digital ad services, right? And I've got some of the most qualified guys on my team, alhamdulillah, guys that have worked for Uber and Emirates Airlines and DP World, and which is a company that has, I think, 3 trillion in assets. They run the paid advertising for those type of clients. But I'm telling you, no, I don't want to sell you that, right? And you shouldn't buy that from anyone else if you don't already have a solid organic strategy. Now, the example that I'm going to share with you today is not necessarily for e-commerce brands, even though it can be, but it's not an ideal strategy for e-commerce brands, even though it can be. And that's something that maybe we'll talk about a different day, inshallah ta'ala. But definitely for those who are in the agency space, the coaching space, the info product space, the influencer space, people who are into high ticket sales and so on and so forth, yes. Those who provide services, yes, this can definitely apply to you. Now, here's the thing. You might wonder, why, Imran? Why are you telling me I should go straight to organic instead of paid? Because, look, if organic does nothing else, if the organic content strategy does nothing else except help you build the skill of being good at making content, then it is worth it. You know why? Because if for you, you're trying to get out of organic because you're bad at making content by thinking I'm just going to put money behind an ad so it can drive and force that traffic, guess what? The ad will go in front of people, but all you're doing is you're putting money behind rubbish ads, rubbish content. You're still bad at making content. There's no change. Now, most people are like, because I'm not great at making content, I'm just going to make an ad and put money behind it. So what you've done is you put money behind a bad piece of content. And that's why you're not making the money that's required. So first, get good. The second issue here is this, is that Google actually done a study, right? But they observed 1 billion different touch points in terms of advertising and people actually purchasing online. And Google's got this data. And they observed that people, when they see an ad, they don't just go and buy. Rather, they will go to your site, they will go to your YouTube, they'll go to your Instagram, they'll go and check out your organic social media profiles because they want to know more about you. This comes back to the trust element that we talked about earlier. I said establish trust through proof and authority. The third way to establish trust, and you see the way everything's interlinked, is by actually having stuff online. By actually having content that's online that's speaking to the heart of your ideal customer and giving them value. And this is a way for you to actually give value to people before what? Before you ask for the sale. Because you've already given people value for free through social media, they're more likely to convert. But look, I'm digressing. The point that I'm mentioning here is that let's just assume that your ad creative is great. People are still going to go check your social media and see what's up there. And then they're going to be like, oh, this was a one-trick pony. The guy just hired someone to write a great ad creative and they spent all this money on this one ad that got my attention. But actually, I can see there's no substance. Because if he actually cared, he would take care of his profile at every stage of the funnel. And social media is the top of your funnel. And if they don't find you at all on social media, they're just going to be like, well, can I even trust this guy? How do I know this is not a scam? But when they can see this guy's got an active profile, he posts, multiple times a day on Instagram, multiple times a week on YouTube, so on and so forth. He's talking, he's actually giving me value. Then they're like, okay, I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to enter his funnel. So this is why you must have an organic social media strategy and not just rely upon ads. 7, 4, 11. Let me end on this point. So that same study I told you about where Google observed 1 billion touch points, they mentioned that for a person to actually buy from you, they need to engage with your content for 7 hours in 4 different locations, 11 different touch points. So 11 times. So 7 hours, not in one go, in 4 different places, 11 different occurrences. So for example, this could be a breakup of podcasts, right? Shorts, reels, blog post, right? Tweets. All of this has to accumulate to 7 hours. And it's got to be in 4 different locations. So this could be YouTube, right? IG, sales page, i.e. the VSL, right? It's a new platform. It's a different platform. Inbox, email. Sorry, my handwriting's a bit messy, but I want you to get the point. So you want to make sure that 7 hours is not just in one place. It's in 4 different locations at the very least. And it's not 4 times, 11 times. So this has got to be broken up into today, tomorrow, yesterday, the day before, multiple times in one day, next month, next year. What this does is that it creates an ecosystem of your presence in people's feeds. And then people are like, yo, this guy's everywhere. And he's actually giving me value. And I trust him and it's beneficial. And he's reminding me of my mission and my core values. And he helps speak to my pain and solve my problem. Okay, I'm ready to buy. And that's how you close a client for 3K, 4K, 5K, 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K, 100K. I'm not exaggerating, okay? One client will pay you 100K. Just seems like hard work. Yeah, of course. Don't be silly now. Don't be silly now. You want to make a lot of money. It's not going to come for free. It takes hard work and time. Hard work and time. If you're not on it, keep a step in. Keep a step in. Right? So I wanted to go through this with you so you can see what it really takes. Because I'm actually sick and tired of these guys running into my DMs and making ads and like, oh, high ticket sales, the new thing. Let me show you these 3 secrets on how to hack the algorithm on Instagram. All of that is waffle unless you get this. And one of the things that I actually despise is hacks. I found this new hack on Instagram, this new hack, this new thing. I'm not saying I won't use that stuff. I like that stuff, but that stuff is like pouring gasoline over the fire. But I don't use that but that is not the fire. I have to spark the fire first. And the fire has to be genuine, authentic, to be beneficial, has to give light, has to give warmth. And then I've amplified it with all these other, hacks and skills and best practices and so on and so forth. But what I went through with you today, your why, right? The 2 mountains that you need to conquer, trust and value. The third thing, which is having a scientific approach with regards to who you're targeting and what you're actually trying to sell to them. Number 4, having a war cry, having an enemy that you're combating so people can get behind you and see you as their leader. And number 5, creating organic content based on the 7-4-11 rule. You see, when you have this, and then we build out a funnel and write a sales letter for you, and we create indoctrination sequence, and write a sales script, and then we run ads. Pow! Yeah, that is what it takes to get to 6 figures a month plus with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, if you're interested in working with myself and my team, where we either teach you this in a lot more depth, like I said to you on the Right to Rich Skills Academy, we've got hours of training. All this stuff is broken up into hours and hours and hours and hours and more. And then access to myself and all the team to be able to answer your questions and give you the real life coaching and feedback and mentorship every day, then you can join us at the Right to Rich Skills Academy from the link below for $99 a month. Or on the flip side, if you're like, look, I don't necessarily have the time to learn all these new things, I'd rather just have you and your team come in and work for me and build this out and do it for me, then yeah, absolutely. We will not take your money. We will not do that for you. And the reason why we will not do that for you is because we only work with a certain caliber and certain type of client. That's the truth, right? But what we can do for you is give you a free strategy call where one of our senior consultants on our team will speak with you and will help give you a strategy, finding these bottlenecks and try to work out exactly where you're going wrong and to help blow your business into the atmosphere. If at the end of that call, the consultant feels that you would be a good fit for us to work with, because we have a very robust criteria in terms of the type of people that we work with, like you've got to be making 10K a month at least, for example, then they will make you an offer and give you a chance to join us, inshallah ta'ala. But what you can do is you can definitely take that call. Just a heads up, that call is only for people that are already running a business, that are making money, otherwise the call will be cancelled. So you can do one of two. You can either go to the Right to Rich Skills Academy, or you can have a call with one of our consultants who just, I promise you, are going to give you so much value. They're going to give you so much value, right? This is not, typical trick to get you into a sales pipeline. Yeah, of course it's a sales pipeline, but we understand. We lead with value. It's a call to actually help you develop a strategy for your business so you can start implementing these things. If at the end of that we feel like you're a good fit, they'll make an offer to you, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah give you success. And remember, be righteous, bro. Be righteous. And Allah will make you rich, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.